Hello, critical thinkers. Hope all is well. We are live. Welcome to tonight's live stream. Tonight, okay, I'm a little bit flustered. I'll be honest with you. I'm disappointed with the latest Messiah Nantwi court updates in terms of the defendants. Before I go into it, please like the video, share the video, comment, let me know where you are watching from. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. Thankfully, since the inception of Critical Conversations HR, we are at 500,000 views. So that's a great number for a small YouTube channel, especially one that's not covering like mainstream topics. So I want to give a special thanks to you guys, everyone who supported Critical Conversations HR, and everyone who cares about the subject matter. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Tonight, we're going over the Messiah Nantwi murder case. We have three three new plea deals that were entered into court in Oneida County Court, two yesterday and one today. Now, some of you may have heard this term before, a slap on the wrist. What occurred yesterday and today is not a slap on the wrist. It's a hand massage with exfoliation and the smell of potpourri in the air while your hand is getting massaged. Nothing occurred remotely close to a slap on the wrist. These gentlemen involved in the beating death of Messiah Nantwi got what we call a sweetheart plea deal. I'm going to play for you a video that's going to give you an overview of the last couple of days. And then, as you know, we'll go deeper and go into a couple of articles that go over what specifically occurred in court. So I'm going to play for you clip one. This is a summary of what occurred in Oneida County Court yesterday and today.
Turning now to our other top story tonight, two COs who were not indicted in the beating death of Messiah Nantwi have entered guilty pleas, but they are unlikely to face any time on the other side of New York's prison system. Adam Joseph and Frank Jacobs have pled guilty to official misconduct and were given a sentence of 1 year conditional discharge. They'll avoid prison time as long as they stay out of trouble with the law for 1 year. If they can do that, the charges of official misconduct will be dropped. The Daily Sentinel reports the two officers admitted to covering up their body-worn cameras when they went to Messiah Nantwi's cell block at Midstate Correctional Facility. The two men are not accused of being involved in that deadly beating. The special prosecutor's office expects that more unindicted COs will likely plead guilty in future proceedings. Two of the other COs who were indicted for their roles in Nantwi's death also appeared for a joint pretrial hearing today. Like yesterday's proceedings, the special prosecutor's office called on investigators to testify about how Caleb Blair and Jacob Levi were identified on unreleased body-worn camera footage. Investigators also testified about conversations they had with Blair and Levi when search warrants were carried out in their homes. Central to that testimony is whether or not the COs were read their rights before they spoke to police. Since both men are charged with murder and have rejected plea deals, they now face 25 years to life in prison. The Daily Sentinel says that Blair and Levi will return to court on December 12th, where their trial date is expected to be set for late March. To stay up to date on your local news.
Okay, so that's a brief summary of what occurred. Actually, that covered more or less what occurred yesterday in Oneida County Court. So we have two new previously correction officers who were not mentioned in previous indictments. Those names were Adam Joseph and Frank Jacobs. The article I'm going to go into is going to go into specifically what they pled guilty to and what the outcome is. But just think about this. You you witness a murder. Uh, these two men did not take part in the physical beating of Messiah Nantwi, but they tampered with evidence. They covered up their body-worn cameras. And this is something that, for those of you unaffiliated, not involved, haven't been following the New York City Department of Corrections, this has been happening. Correction officers have been fighting having to wear body-worn cameras. Many do not. And when they do and they cover it up, there are zero consequences for their actions because of the collective bargaining agreement, which makes it almost impossible for docs to terminate correction officers, even ones that beat and kill incarcerated individuals. So the two previously unindicted correction officers are Adam Joseph and Frank Jacobs. I'm going to pull up an article from the Spectrum News One. We are going to go over it and go over specifically what happened in court. This is yesterday, October 30th. Here we go. Okay, again, this article is from Spectrum News One. By the way, all of the sources that I use in my live stream, they're linked up in the description of the video. So if you want to read this on your own, just click on the link, and it will take you there. So this is from Spectrum News One. Two former mid-state guards reject murder charge pleas to admit misconduct. The two former mid-state correction officers charged with murder and the death of Messiah Nantwi turned down pleas in court appearances Thursday in Oneida County Court. Jonah Levi rejected an offer of 18 years to life in state prison in return for pleading guilty to second-degree murder. Caleb Blair turned down the same plea for a sentence of 16 years to life in prison. Prosecutors allege Levi threw Nantwi down a flight of stairs during a series of beatings March 1st in Mid-State Correctional Facility. The inmate later died of severe head trauma. Levi and Blair are charged with second-degree murder, first-degree manslaughter, first-degree gang assault, second-degree gang assault, fifth-degree conspiracy and offering a false instrument for filing and the death of Nantwi. The two are due back in court on December 12th. They face 25 years to life if convicted in a trial. Now, I'm wondering quickly whether these, Caleb and Blair feel emboldened because of the acquittals of those two correction officers in the Robert Brooks case. But they're taking their chances. They're going to be taking this to trial, and we will see if justice will prevail in the Messiah Nantwi case. Let's go back to the article. Quote, it's unfortunate that people are not taking responsibility, right? Said Alphonse Williams, Senior Assistant District Attorney in the Onondaga County District Attorney's Office. But no matter what the number is, we're going to be ready, and we're going to be ready to make sure that Nantwi and his family gets the justice that they deserve. Prior and separate to that, 2 of 6 correction officers who were not part of the 10 indicted. So this is interesting. So here we're learning. Here we are learning there are 6 additional correction officers who were not part of the initial indictment who are cooperating. They'll probably get sweetheart plea deals like the 2 gentlemen mentioned in this article who pled guilty yesterday for their testimony. Let's go back to the article. CO Adam Joseph, 38, pleaded guilty to misconduct for moving his body-worn camera away during a use of force incident with Nantwi. Frank Jacobs, 51, admitted obscuring a body-worn camera during a use of force incident with Nantwi. Both were previously placed on administrative leave and sentenced Thursday to 1-year conditional discharge. Now understand this, 1-year conditional discharge. This means that if they stay out of trouble for 1 year, the charges against these 2 men will be dropped and they have no criminal record. So imagine this. You tamper with evidence, your body-worn camera, you obscure it from capturing a murder on camera, and you basically have no criminal record. You plead guilty, and then you have no criminal record. For me, this is This is absolutely disgraceful. I would say to Alphonse, the assistant DA, who's helping Fitzpatrick, this is not justice. This is not even close to it. This is very disappointing. Let's move on with the rest of the article. 10 mid-state correctional facility staff members were indicted in the death and or alleged subsequent cover-up of Nantwi, a 22-year-old inmate at mid-state. 4 have pleaded guilty, while 4 have turned down plea offers. On Monday, Daniel Berger, who was charged with first-degree manslaughter, gang assault, and other charges, admitted to filing a false document and was sentenced to 1.5 years in prison. Understand this: Daniel Berger, um, he pled guilty to filing a false document. He did lay hands on Messiah Nantwi. He laid hands on him, and he's getting 1 1/3 year in prison. There's no semblance of justice here, none whatsoever. Francis Chandler, who had also faced a manslaughter charge, pleaded guilty to second-degree gang assault in Oneida County Court. Previously, Nicholas Vitale pleaded guilty to a reduced misdemeanor count of offering a false instrument for filing. David Ferrone pleaded guilty to tampering with evidence. 4 of the 6 CEOs who were not indicted by a grand jury in the case and agreed to cooperate with prosecutors have now accepted pleas, including Jacobs and Joseph. Joshua Bartlett and Nathan Palmer previously pleaded guilty to first-degree hindering prosecution and first-degree falsifying business records. But in addition to Levi and Blair, who on Thursday declined deals on second-degree murder charges, 2 defendants charged with first-degree manslaughter, gang assault, and other counts in the case, Craig Klemlich and Thomas Eck, declined plea deals offered in court this week. 2 other indicted defendants, Michael Ifford and Donald Slauson, are expected to appear in court Friday, and I will be covering Donald Slauson because he did put in a plea deal today. Ifford is charged with first degree offering a false instrument for filing. Slauson is charged with tampering with physical evidence. ADA Williams said he's in contact with Nantwi's father, Patterson Nantwi, who lives in New York City. He says he is satisfied with everything so far. Do me a favor, if you agree with these plea deals, write a yes in the chat. Type in yes for me. If you don't agree with these plea deals that are being entered in Oneida County Court, please type no in the chat. So type in yes if you think these plea deals are acceptable, or type no if you believe that they're not acceptable. Let's move on with the article. Oh, actually, that's it. That's the end of the article here. Here we have a picture of former Mid-State Correctional Officer Adam Joseph, who pleaded guilty to official misconduct for moving a body-worn camera during a use of force incident. One thing and also one thing that we're learning in the last couple of days, we learned that this conspiracy is more widespread than what we thought. It was initially 10 officers indicted. Now there's 6 additional officers involved. 2 additional took plea deals, and the rest will soon be entering plea deals. So for anyone that says this is a bunch of bad apples, that argument has been thrown out. It's been decimated a long time ago. Unfortunately, this is the culture of corruption at the New York State Department of Corrections. It's widespread, it's pervasive, and this is what is considered acceptable behavior by correction officers. Absolutely disgraceful. So I'm going to stop sharing that article. I'm going to share with you another article. Give me a second. I'm going to pull it up. Okay. This article here Sorry about that transition. Um, this article here is from the Rome Sentinel. Sean Mills, who's been covering this case for some time. CO pleads guilty to mopping blood off floor in mid-state beating death by Sean I. Mills. We thank you for your coverage on this case. Here we have Donald Slauson. This is not a new name. This is a name that's come up in the indictment. So most of us have heard his name. He is not new. Utica, a ninth mid-state correction officer, has pleaded guilty to his role in the beating death of inmate Messiah Nantwi and the attempted cover-up. Meanwhile, Oneida County Court Judge Michael R. Nolan has locked in on a March 23rd. Guys, take note of this. March 23rd trial date for the 5 remaining mid-state COs. Donald Slauson, 53, pleaded guilty before Judge Nolan on Friday, October 31st, to one count of attempted tampering with physical evidence. He was then sentenced to 1 year conditional discharge, wherein he will need to stay out of trouble with the law for the next year, or he could face jail time. Slauson was also ordered to resign from his position as a CO, and state officials said that has already taken place. Slauson has not agreed to cooperate with prosecutors in the upcoming trial. So this is something that is absolutely baffling for me. They offered Slauson a sweetheart deal, beyond a sweetheart deal. They offered him a hand massage with spa music in the background, exfoliating cream, potpourri, whatever the hell you want to call it, and he doesn't even have to testify. What does that tell you about how this is being handled? Please make it make sense. Let's go back to the article. Prosecutors said Nantwi was beaten I'm sorry. Prosecutors said Nantwi was beaten in his cell, in a stairwell, and then at the prison infirmary after he was brought inside. Slauson admitted to mopping the blood off the floor of the Mid-State Infirmary after the beating. This sounds very similar to Nicholas Gentile from Marcy Correctional, who basically pled guilty to doing the same. Quote, he is alleged to have mopped up one of the scenes where Mr. Nantwi was assaulted, explained Senior Assistant District Attorney Alphonse Williams. Co-defendant Michael Ifford also appeared before Judge Nolan on Friday. Ifford once again rejected a plea offer of a 1-year conditional discharge if he would plead guilty to attempted offering a false instrument for filing. That is Ifford's only charge, and he faces 1 1/3 to 4 years in prison if he is convicted at trial. Ifford's case was adjourned to December 12th when Judge Nolan said they will confirm the March 23rd trial date with all 5 remaining defendants: Ifford, Thomas Egg, Craig Klemlich, Jonah Levi, and Caleb Blair. And that is the end of the article. So it's quite clear to me that there is a substantial, I guess I'll call it correctional officer privilege, that the consequences are not the same. Because if this was you or I covering up a crime, let's say if God forbid there was a murder that occurred, and I took off the Ring camera footage, I would be doing time underneath the prison for as long as they possibly could. You had correctional officers who covered up their body camera, who are pleading guilty, and after 1 year, if they get in no trouble, they have no criminal record. What precedent does this set in New York State that correctional officers can be involved in a beating, the covering up of that crime, and they walk away with no criminal record? Make it make sense, because it does not make sense to me. It's very unfortunate that we're seeing these plea deals from Alphonse Williams, who's Like we're seeing him more at the forefront now. You know, there might be different reasons for that. He seems to be offering up a lot of statements to the public. Um, you know, it could be I'll probably keep my comments to myself. Okay, but very disappointing, very disappointing. So just to go back, we do have a March 23rd trial date. Obviously, I'm going to stay committed to covering the case. I'm going to continue to cover this, the trial, the upcoming court dates. And again, this is very unfortunate. It seems very much like a two-tier justice system, correctional officer privilege. Um, you know, some people will say that it has come a long way to have correctional officers being charged, but these sweetheart deals are not acceptable in my eyes, not acceptable whatsoever. I'm going to continue to cover these cases, continue to bring these events and court updates. So again, if you haven't done so already, please like the stream, share it, and if you have not done so already, please subscribe to the channel. It greatly helps with the algorithm. As I say in all of my videos, my goal is to go deeper than what the mainstream media is telling and sharing with you. So take care, God bless, and I will see you next time.